I say all this, but I still struggle here too. The rest are just on the hamster wheel trying to put the reps in. Oh man, this is a big one. About 1 in 5 adults in the UK say they feel lonely some or most of the time. I am basically a living contradiction. I think this is really important for those that do find themselves being lost at a particular stage in their life. Welcome back to Real People, Real Talk. My name is Bobby, and if you're new here, welcome. This channel is dedicated to making life that little bit easier by talking about everyday scenarios, learning from those experiences, and becoming just a little bit better every day. In this video, I want to answer some questions I've had from regular viewers, covering a wide range of topics including self-improvement, relationships, mental fitness, and more. Let me say this, I'm not an expert on any of these topics, just a real guy in the real world, figuring it out as I go. I'm hoping that by looking at these questions and sharing the answers with you, it may be thought-provoking for you too. Let's dive straight in. Can people who contradict themselves be trustworthy? Well, I think first and foremost, it's good to say that it's okay to contradict ourselves here and then. We aren't always going to get it right. I guess if we contradict ourselves frequently, then it raises the question of whether we really know much about the thing we're talking about. This comes down to wanting to be right, or maybe more fitting, wanting to not be wrong. Constant contradiction will have an impact on credibility. You start to build a profile in your head about the person, and may take what they say with a pinch of salt. In these situations, I think trust is built through transparency and authenticity. If we don't know something, we should just say that we're probably not equipped to talk on that particular matter. If we are not sure, we should just say we aren't sure about that particular thing. This will make us more trustworthy than trying to guess and then backtracking later. Plus, it's probably in all of our best interests not to optimize for being right all the time, and instead work hard to be less wrong more times. If we want trust, then we should just be honest, rather than trying to be the all-knowing oracle. Honestly, this is much easier to maintain in the long run. If anger is described as passion, then doesn't that mean it's okay for us all to be angry? This is interesting really, because anger and passion have been linked forever. One of the reasons for that is how those emotions take over us. When we're angry, like really angry, we enter an altered biological state. Our heart rate changes, our breathing increases, we may even feel a little warmer, and some people also describe a shaking sensation in their legs. We are no longer thinking rationally, and our field of vision reduces to just the thing we're angry about. Passion isn't too dissimilar. If we are really passionate about something, we may also enter an alternate biological state, and we feel an urge that we need to act upon. The truth is, it's okay for us to feel anger. Life is hard sometimes. You experience injustice or betrayal, and the first emotion that comes up is going to be anger. The problem with anger is what we do with it next. If it's something we will regret, or if it's someone that we become who we don't want to be due to the anger taking over, then that will bring a whole host of emotions thereafter that we probably didn't want to feel in the first place. I think that within this question, it feels like passion has more of a positive feel to it. We should capitalize on the link that it has with anger and use the initial rage to channel into positive passion that will come with good outcomes. If we're angry most of the time, we'll most likely drive people away. If we are passionate most of the time, we'll most likely inspire others. I'm pretty certain which one I'd choose. To answer the question though, it's okay to be angry, but it's not okay to be and then call it passion. That sounds like an excuse. If you had a one-time message to the world, what would you tell them? There's only really one thing to say. Like and subscribe to the channel. Jokes aside, a one-time message to the world as it is today, there's probably lots I'd want to say. It's one of the reasons this channel exists. But if I had to limit it to just one thing, I'd say optimize for being kind. Working towards being a kinder person is a huge percentage of personal growth. So many aspects of us would become better if we were trying to be kinder. We probably wouldn't get angry as quickly. We probably wouldn't raise our voice to make a point. We would consider that someone may have had a bad morning if they cut us off at the traffic light. We wouldn't take criticism as badly because we would think about the fact that the person criticizing has some things to work through. We would probably be more helpful, we would most likely be more present, and we would definitely be better listeners. Kindness isn't necessarily us being nice. Sometimes we can't be nice, but we can always be kind. In a world where drama grabs attention and brings like-minded people together, let's go for the other powerful force. Let's cultivate human connection by being kind. Have you ever stopped answering a question because you knew the outcome would have a negative effect on you? The answer is absolutely yes, especially when I was younger and my mum used to ask me where I've been all this time. I chose silence because I wasn't going to tell her I was out gallivanting being up to no good. But look, I answered an earlier question about honesty, and nowadays that's the path I choose. If I'm presented with a question, I'd rather answer as honest as I can so I wouldn't stop myself from answering the question. I think nowadays we get ourselves in many situations where someone may ask a question and answering honestly may put you in a pickle, but being real is all we have. If we did the action or said the thing, then we may as well just put our hands up and take it. I love the idea of don't ask permission, just ask forgiveness. I used to always say we can do anything we want as long as it makes sense. It comes down to our values. If our intentions are good, then sometimes stepping outside of the box may not end up being so bad. In my last video I said, nothing is ever as bad as you think it is, and equally, nothing is ever as good as you think it is. And with that sentiment, we may as well just answer the question with the confidence that we acted in line with our values, which are inherently good. And of course, if we didn't have the best intentions, then we should take the whirlwind that comes with it, learn from it, and become a better version of ourselves. However it unfolds, we still win. Have you ever given advice that you wouldn't personally want to be told? In the earlier days, yes, for sure. Nowadays, I don't really like to give unsolicited advice, which I believe is the type that may come with the label of not being followed by ourselves. After all, someone wouldn't ask for your advice on a particular situation if they didn't believe you were already living it. I think this question links nicely to the first one. Let me explain. If I was telling someone about the benefits of the gym, but wasn't an active member myself, that information loses a little credibility. I am basically a living contradiction. I think we all find ourselves in a situation sometimes where we give some good advice but aren't following it. That's why we have this great quote of, if you followed your own advice, you would already be further on than you are. And also, the do as I say and not as I do. Truth is, I work really hard now to not speak on anything that I'm not living myself. It doesn't really have much value. Plus, being able to share my own experience makes that particular advice a lot more meaningful for the other person. But yeah, back in the day, I was given all sorts of advice that I wouldn't want to hear myself. I was just a carrier of information, rather than a trustworthy, credible source. No wonder my friends and family didn't act on it. If I said you shouldn't drink coffee in the first 90 minutes of waking up, but then smashed a couple of cups prior to even getting dressed, then why would they, right? Have you found yourself? Wowza, have I found myself? I'm not sure what that really means. I guess I'm uncovering new layers every day. I try to learn every day, become a little bit better as I go. If this is about purpose, then boy, yes, I got a new sense of purpose when I became a husband, a new sense of purpose when I became a dad, and a new sense of purpose when I started this channel. I found joy in those things. They help me when other things aren't as good as they could be. I'm seeing new ways of dealing with things because now it needs to be in line with my responsibilities. Children will change your life for sure. They can make you feel crazy at times, but then the way you deal with crazy has to be controlled because they are watching. They are learning from their role model. If the answer to the question is whether I know why I'm here, then yeah, I want to help out where I can, leave the place a little bit better than I found it. I want to be there for people when they need it, regardless of whether it's friends, family, children, my wife, or you who's watching this video right now. I think this is an ongoing journey. There is new things we discover every day. I haven't been lost for a while. I think this is really important for those that do find themselves being lost at a particular stage in their life. Whether it's a breakup, new career, grief, health problems, and the list goes on. In those moments, we do have to go through a process of finding ourselves. The only thing I can say here is that the real you is there, deep down. Sometimes we need to lean on the tribe to help us get back to the path. They know us best after all. We are tribal animals. We need the connection. Do you think loneliness can be a trait or a problem? Well, loneliness is definitely a problem. About 1 in 5 adults in the UK say they feel lonely some or most of the time, and 6 to 7% of the population say they are lonely often or always. In the US, over 50 million adults report feeling lonely on a regular basis. 21 to 22% of the population say they feel lonely often or always. This is particularly bad in the younger adults for both countries. In a lot of cases, it may not even be because individuals don't have people around them. A lot of the time it comes down to the fact that they don't feel like they have the support they need. In Theo Won's words, loneliness isn't that you don't have anyone, it's that you don't feel anyone has you. Now, can loneliness be a trait? Let's define trait. The dictionary says a trait is a particular characteristic, quality, or tendency that someone or something has. I see loneliness as a feeling rather than a characteristic, although sometimes people who are feeling lonely can have certain tendencies. I think the thing to remember is that loneliness doesn't have to be forever. Things can and will change. We will always thrive most amongst other people, and sometimes we just have to find those people. We go through chapters or seasons. Someone who felt lonely 2 years ago may now be in a position where they no longer feel that way. Then there is the consideration for those that choose solitude, which is very different to loneliness. As we get older, we tend to choose to have less people around us. If you're going through a lonely patch right now, keep your head up, do the work, and get yourself to a place where you feel happy about who you are. Everything else will follow, my friends. My nephew and I have a very strong relationship. He comes to me with things he doesn't tell his parents about. I feel a strong loyalty to him, but sometimes feel loyal to my sister too, his mum, and don't know whether I should keep everything we discuss as a secret or flag some concerns to my sister when I feel things are about to get out of hand. How should I influence the situation without a breakdown in trust with both parties involved? It's a bit of a challenging situation, really. If you speak to your sister and she goes and confronts your nephew, you break the trust he had with you. If you don't mention it and this comes to light at some point, you'll have a very upset sister. Ultimately, we would want the nephew to be comfortable to speak to the parent instead. The only way I see to do this is some coaching with both. If your nephew is opening up to you, then there is something you provide in that conversation that makes him want to talk. I would encourage you to ask your sister to try some variations in questioning or listening whenever she may tell you that her son doesn't speak to her. At the same time, I would probably give the nephew some tips in bringing things to his parent without striking a nerve so that they can have a rational conversation. It's hard for parents to completely remove their emotion when kids are telling them something. Our brains tend to go to the worst case scenario, and we start to panic or get angry about what may have happened. It's slightly easier when it's someone else. They can potentially just listen. If you want to influence anything, then influence that behavior for your sister, listening with an open mind to then work together to figure out a solution, not too dissimilar to what you would do with a co-worker or friend. Plus, you can get some data from your nephew. Tell him that you love that he speaks to you about these things, but what would it take to actually be able to open up to his parent? If he says, "I wish she would just listen to me without losing her head," then there you have the answer to what needs to be influenced. Best way to do that is to share your own scenario with your sister if you have kids of your own. Sister, lost my head yesterday and I should have just listened. How do you deal with that? If she says she doesn't know, then you can work on that still together. I'm pretty sure we all need to work on that one from time to time. I struggle with boundary setting, especially when it comes to my time. How can I let people down gently or say no more often so that I'm not overcommitting myself, especially when it comes to splitting time between my family, my friends, and my own interests and hobbies? Man, just get comfortable saying no. That is the real truth here. If you do too much of what you didn't really want to do at the time, it's just going to come back to hit you in the face. Drake has this line in a song with Mary J. Blige. He says, "Always there when it matters, missing all of the other times, a terrible pattern." He's talking about something different, but I like the line. I think we should always be there when it matters and be more selective at all of the other times, especially if there's other responsibilities. Time is limited, and so is our capacity. We need to do the things we need for us in order to function too, whether that is working out or eating healthy or that hobby that helps us to switch off. This is about priorities. We need to get ourselves right. We need to spend the right amount of time with our children so that they grow up the way that we want them to. We also need to spend the right amount of time with our partners so that the relationship stays intact. We also need to engage with our friends so that the friendship continues. These are all priorities, but depending on the time and the situation, each will have a higher rating as to when it should get done, and at those times, everything else just needs to be a no. And say no honestly. No need to make up excuses. Sometimes there may just be, "I'm not feeling it. I'll see you for the next one." I tend to think about it this way. Will the thing I'm saying no to still go ahead despite my absence in the same way as it would if I said yes? If the answer is yes, and in most cases it will be a yes, then I feel less bad about it. Maybe that's a little trick that you can adopt. I doubt anyone would dislike you for it. Most of the time, the person had already made up their mind about you way before you said no. They aren't going to change who they think you are now. How do you fight for something when you're not sure if the thing you're fighting for is worth fighting for? I think you just need to know. Suiting up and getting battle ready without knowing what the fight is for will most likely end up in a loss. It's in our best interest to take a step back and think about whether the thing we're going to fight for is worth fighting for. We have to do the pre-work to avoid ultimate disappointment. And it doesn't have to be undeniable proof, just a feeling that it's the right thing to do. If it is, and then it ends up not being so, then we can still rest assured that it felt like it did. At least that loss still comes with a lesson. But isn't the lesson always going to be that I should have known? Sometimes you can't connect the dots unless you're looking back. But we can trust our gut, and if it feels right, then fight. In order to get there though, we do have to give it some thought. Having said all that, I like fighting. I'm not talking about combat here, but actually going the extra mile rather than just taking the first outcome as the final one. All too often we give up too easy because something has always gone a certain way, or something has always been done in a certain manner. It's good to disrupt because you never know. You may just be the change that was needed. A good hybrid approach is to be always battle ready, but think for a moment before deploying your arsenal. Why do we as men always wear a mask when it comes to feelings? Oh man, this is a big one. I have a longer video just on this subject. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll link it in the description for you. I think that we are probably at a stage now where we no longer need to say men always do this. A lot of men are getting better at opening up about their feelings. They just choose the person they do it with. But yeah, it is still a problem. I think it is very much about masculinity. It's hard to open up and say you're not doing well to your partner when they believe you to be the strong structure that holds things together. It's hard to open up and share with your friends when they may think it's weak to do so. And it is certainly hard to be vulnerable in front of your kids when they believe their dad to be a superhero. So instead, we just crack on, get on with the work that needs doing, and hold it all together. When it gets a little too much, we choose anger to let it all out. Anger is the acceptable emotion, it still feels strong. When what we should be doing is just say the words, talk about the things that are getting us down. Mental health is just as important as physical health. If we broke our arm, we would allow for everyone to feel sympathy and help us out. We should have the courage to do this when we have a hurt mind too. I say all this, but I still struggle here too. Trying hard to be better. Trying hard to let more people in when it's needed. We are working against hardwired coding in our brains, but the alternative is loneliness, breakdown of relationships, and a breakdown of our minds. The suicide rates amongst men are at an all-time high. If we want to be the change, then we also need to be better at holding space for our friends and family. Many times have I heard someone trying to open up just to be told by a friend, "Don't worry about all that, snap out of it." There is more work to do for us as sharers and also as the people that are listening to others share. Also, I wouldn't just want to make this about men. I have met a number of women now who are also becoming a little more closed off. Everyone gets sad from time to time. We should always lean on the tribe. And as a tribe, we need to allow the leaning. Is technology harming the opportunity to find love? Interesting subject matter, really. I think in a way, it's actually helping the opportunity to find love, but most likely for a subset of individuals. The top 10% of individuals on a dating app are going to get the most likes and swipes, and ultimately the most dates. The rest are just on the hamster wheel trying to put the reps in. Maybe looking for guidance on the internet on what type of profile picture to use, how to word their bios, and maybe even the initial line in a chat. And if you went broader from just dating apps, technology has increased the circle of where you can find a potential mate. So that helps too. Where tech is harming the opportunity of love is the constant usage of it. We're having less and less actual in-person conversations. Our attention spans are being reduced by curated posts and short-form videos, almost to the point where we struggle to listen to someone telling a story. We can find out a lot of information from the internet on a potential mate, which reduces the joy that comes from ascertaining this information through conversation. And then there is this phenomenon that we have where even when we are with someone, we are still engaging with our phones rather than the person that is sitting in front of us. In summary, tech can help or harm your chances in love. We probably need to make some changes. In the end, paying attention to someone, being present, having real conversations and being curious about them will help your chances in love. If the technology gets in the way, then pull the plug. Love is built on connection and is not the digital type. It's about finding things that we can enjoy together, having similar values, and of course, attraction. If technology helps us to get in front of someone, then that's where we say thank you and then take over. We should certainly work on our humor though. That's always a winner. Thank you to everyone that sent in questions. I really appreciate it. There's still more that I have not answered yet, but I will make sure to get to them first for our next Q&A video. If you thought of a question while watching this video, then please send me an email here. I will also put this in the description for you. I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I did answering these questions. Here is another video YouTube thinks you may like. Go ahead and check it out. My name is Bobby, and this is Real People, Real Talk. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again very soon.